Joining me now is Robert Emmons Jr. running for Congress in Illinois' 1st District. We got a theme today, 26-year-olds running for office as progressives. Robert, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Really excited today.
No problem. Robert, you're trying to do something that even Barack Obama couldn't do, which is defeat Bobby Rush. So that's literal. Obama ran against Bobby Rush in a primary in 2000 and got crushed, lost to him by 30 points. So what's different this time around? How are you going to beat the Democratic incumbent in this race?
Yeah, well, like I said, thank you so much for having me on the show today. And you started it off perfectly by taking us back to 20 years ago when President Barack Obama ran against Bobby Rush. He said that Bobby Rush represented a reactive style of politics, and he no longer represented the resilience of the community. And that was 20 years ago. So you can only imagine what the last 20 years have looked like in this district. In a district that's a really democratic district. We need a champion for progressive values. And right now we got a bystander. So to beat Bobby Rush in particular, we have to show the constituents of the 1st District exactly where he's gone wrong. For example, he called the Green New Deal a smash and grab, which should come at no surprise to constituents in the 1st District or Americans across the country because he's taken money from the fossil fuel industry. In fact, 10% of the money he's gotten on cash on hand has come from the fossil fuel industry. And he sits on the Energy and Commerce Committee. So he has some special dirty interest that's influencing his behavior. And then also just showing more historical precedents of what he's done wrong to hurt this district, like voting for the disastrous 1994 crime bill. And then 25 years later, still supporting policies on the local level that exasperate vicious cycles of poverty and in that case, violence in our community. So it's an education piece, and it's also really just hitting the ground and organizing Bobby Rush 10-1.
So Robert, Washington is scandalized when you point out how much money that Bobby Rush is taking from the oil and gas industry. Are you saying that might be connected to his votes?
Absolutely. I mean, you are loyal to who you're taking money from. That's why our campaign is not taking a single dime from a corporation or the fossil fuel industry or the pharmaceutical industry. Our only loyalty is to the people, and that message has been really resonating with the people of the 1st Congressional District of Illinois, because for the first time in a lot of our lives, we feel like there's actually some reinvigoration happening in the 1st District, and we are starting to see that hope that Obama promised us 20 years ago when he ran. We're actually starting to realize it within this campaign, and we're leading by example. And what we've been saying is we're giving the keys to the House back to the people, and folks really like that. It's been pretty special. It's just this energy in this time that I haven't felt in my lifetime, and many folks who've supported our campaign are saying the same thing. And these are the same people that supported Barack against Bobby 20 years ago and supported Mayor Harold Washington because he was also a congressman in the 1st Congressional District. So absolutely.
Harold Washington was a legend and then became Chicago's first black mayor.
Absolutely.
And so that's a storied district that you're running in. And is there a little bit of irony here, Robert, that Barack Obama ran against the Democratic incumbent just like you are, but yet the Democratic Party is now punishing anyone who would work with you and blacklisting all companies that would ever help you? If they had done that 20 years ago, they would have blacklisted Barack Obama, wouldn't they have?
Absolutely. And then I just want to point out some more history. Bobby Rush actually primaried then Representative Charles Hayes. So he got his seat by primarying a Democrat because he believed that the people of the 1st Congressional District deserved better than what they had in 1990. And that's the exact same thing we're doing right now. We're saying that the 1st Congressional District of Illinois deserves a champion for the Medicare for all and a Green New Deal and a living wage and universal pre-K. Not someone who's barely showing up to vote. We need someone who's representing the resilience and the spirit of the 1st Congressional District's people. So absolutely, it's a disservice to democracy to say that people shouldn't be challenging the powers that be if they're not acting in the interest of the people. So I'm not waiting for somebody to send me or give me permission to fight for my community. When I talk about making this the very last generation to be faced with everyday gun violence, it's something that's personal to me. And nothing's going to stop this movement from being able to achieve that goal, because there are actual lives on the line.
Yeah, Robert, it's almost as if the people who made the rules about how you shouldn't challenge the powerful were themselves powerful. Okay, funny how that works out.
It must have been my own accident or something. Right?
Yeah, another coincidence. Another coincidence in Washington. All right, Robert, why did you decide to run for office? You're a young guy. You could have done anything. Why did you decide to do this?
Yeah. So prior to 2015, as a social innovator and a gun violence prevention advocate, and working with nonprofits around the country, a lot of the work I was doing to, in my eyes, solve the problem of gun violence was banning assault weapons and background checks and closing gun show loopholes, which are all critical. But in 2015, I lost a best friend and college roommate to gun violence. And that changed my entire life, unfortunately. And it changed my life because his death was, unfortunately, statistically speaking, predictable. It was predictable because he was living in a system that failed him at every single turn. Like our education system, our economic system, our criminal justice system all failed him. But his death was also 100% preventable. And that's why I've rededicated my entire life towards being a part of the solution and really getting to the root causes of gun violence, like systemic poverty, like not having access to education and higher education, and reforming a extremely corrupt criminal justice system. So that's a lot of the work I've been doing since 2015 has been about getting down to the root causes of gun violence, and then saying and putting actual tactical solutions to ending everyday gun violence and talking about what everyday gun violence is, and how we can actually solve it as a nation. So I think overall, that is the biggest reason to why I decided to run for Congress, was to make sure that we were bringing what activists have been saying for decades in Chicago, bringing that to Washington, D.C. And when I think about a lot of the progressive values that I fight for, and progressives all across the country fight for, like reforming our criminal justice system, like gun violence prevention, like access to higher education, all of these things, all of these problems and therefore the solutions disproportionately impact Black men under the age of 35 years old. Yet we don't have a single member of Congress that fits this demographic. That means we're missing a key voice in Congress, a voice that is going through the things that I'm advocating for, and have friends and family members who are suffering these barriers. And then more importantly, not just being a problem solver, but having the ability to solve these, not being just a problem identifier, but also being a problem solver to put real solutions to these big issues that we're facing.
So, Rob, real quick, what are the types of criminal justice reform that you would advocate for if you were in Congress?
Yeah, we have to abolish private prisons. Nobody should profit off of people being incarcerated. We have to ban the box, quote unquote, for job applications and FAFSA. So that way, after someone gets out of prison, they have an equal shot at upward mobility, and they're not forced to go into the same things that got them into the system in the first place. So these are some of the hallmark pieces of cultural shifts and policies that I would advocate for when we get to Congress. And that's how we reduce recidivism rates, and we can actually begin to build our communities up in a sustainable way. Like I said, Bobby Rush voted for the disastrous 1994 crime bill, which militarized and criminalized already disinvested communities. And then 25 years later, he's still supporting policies that, in an effort to reduce crime, does the exact same thing that the 1994 crime bill does. That means he hasn't learned his lesson, and he hasn't learned from that mistake. So we need to completely rethink how we solve crime, and then really, again, getting back to the root causes of why somebody would even commit a crime, and then addressing those problems holistically. That's what's going to actually reform our society and begin to reform our criminal justice system.
So finally, Bobby Rush has had that seat since you've been alive. You're 26 years old, and he's had the seat for 26 years. So how are you going to beat him? It's obviously going to be an uphill battle. How are you going to pull off something that even Obama couldn't do?
Yeah, well, I thank the president so much for all of the work he's done in his life and inspiring me in so many different ways. I worked for the Obama Foundation as a consultant for the last year and a half. I think what I have that unfortunately Barack didn't have in 2000 is Barack. Him having run in this district before has awoken a crowd of people that see the inadequacies that exist in the first congressional district, and more importantly, see what we can be when we bring our communities together. So a lot of the people that helped Barack Obama out in 2000 and in 2004 and in 2008 are on our board of directors on our campaign and have been public supporters of our campaign, making sure that we are really shaking things up and building a movement that is sustainable to take on someone who should be a champion of progressive values but isn't. So we have a lot of the support that Barack had in 2000 now helping us out, and then it's also people power, investing in organizing. When I was thinking about building out my team, I wanted to make sure I was bringing on organizers. So we have more organizers from the Sunrise Movement on our team, and we have organizers from March for Our Lives and in other campaigns on our team. And we're fighting and we're shaking things up. And there, like I said, there's this energy right now in the first congressional district that I have never experienced before. And the movement has become so much bigger than me. And that's when you know that a movement is real and sustainable and powerful. And Fred Hampton once said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can never kill the revolution. And that's so true about this campaign and the magnitude in which we've been thriving. And I know we're going to win in 2020.
Well, the revolution survives. It's all over the country. Robert's a part of it. RobertEmmons.org. Robert, I assume you don't take corporate PAC money?
No, we absolutely will never take corporate PAC money.
All right, so you see how you can donate and volunteer if you're watching later on YouTube or Facebook. Make sure you click on the links down below in the description box. RobertEmmons.org, finishing the job that Obama started 20 years ago. I love the energy. And by the way, Robert outraised, even with no corporate PAC money, Bobby Rush in the first quarter this year. So
absolutely.
From what I hear, yes, we can.
Yes, we can. We're fired up. We're fired up, Cenk. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you for joining us on the Young Turks, Robert. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.